So, we think we can dance.
Good evening and welcome to Counterpulse. My name is Jessica Robinson Love. I'm the executive director here, and I'm so glad that you have all joined us for Dance Discourse Project number 8. Wow, that was winding. I don't perform anymore. Dance Discourse number 8. We are talking about dance in pop culture. The Dance Discourse Project is one of the many events that we have here at Counterpulse. Counterpulse is a home for artists and activists who are experimenting and taking risks. We have different exciting shows here every single weekend of the year, so I hope that you will come back and see more that happens, and at the end of the night I'll give you some pointers on fun things you can do here with Counterpulse and Dancers Group. The Dance Discourse Project is a collaborative effort between myself and Counterpulse and Mary Armentrout and Dancers Group. And she and I she really came to me a few years ago and said, you know, let's expand and raise the level of discourse primarily within the dance community in the Bay Area about what it is we do and how it relates to the rest of the world. So we have had a lot of different discussions about dance and multiculturalism, about site-specific dance, about video and technology and performance. And this conversation I don't remember exactly, it came about over lunch as a way to think about dance in pop culture and how it is mostly that we as the modern contemporary dance community is relating to all the dance that's happening in pop culture and how we are using or pushing up against that practice. So I'm going to turn it over to Mary, who is my co-conspirator in this event, to talk a little bit more about framing the discussion and to introduce our panelists.
Thank you, Jessica, and welcome everybody. Let's see, I just want to talk a little bit more about what the topic for tonight might be or is. I think we're trying to think about the explosion of dance in pop culture in recent times. Things like So You Think You Can Dance, things like YouTube. So you could think about it as an explosion of dance representation in pop culture. You can also think about it as interesting usages of some of these new tools and technologies that are popping up. How are we as dance artists using them? All these funny little new opportunities, what can we do with them? What are people doing with them? So I think that somewhere in there is kind of the meat of the evening, and we have found these fabulous artists who are doing very interesting things with some of these tools, thinking about ways of talking about some of these contemporary things in interesting ways. And so basically what we want to bring you is some wonderful examples of work that kind of illustrates some of these interesting tools, opportunities, new things, and hope that that will spark you all to think about what you might like to do with them, what you're already doing with them, questions that you might have. And one of the things that I've always wanted very much for the Dance Discourse Project to be is something where it's not about fancy people talking to you in your chairs and you get to listen. It's more about, even though we do have fancy people, more about getting everybody in the room feeling like they're able to talk and think about whatever it is that we're discussing of an evening, and having everyone feel like they're included and that their thoughts matter. So one thing that I just want to lay out for you is the way the evening is going to go. We're kind of experimenting as time goes by with these different kind of forms of how dance discourse projects can work. And this is our latest experiment, which is a hybrid form of all of the different things we've ever tried. And so we're going to do part panel discussion. So each of these three artists, who I will introduce in a moment, are going to talk a little bit about some of their work and how it relates to these issues. And then we're going to break out, and these lovely tables that you guys are sitting at, we're all going to have some little discussions. And if you look in your program, there are four questions. And what we're going to do is we're going to have little discussions at each table about one of the questions. And so you all get to talk, and we'll all come down and talk as well. And so we'll all have a big discussion at the tables about all these different questions. And people can change tables once. So we're going to have 2 chances to talk about these different questions. So it's kind of, the fancy people talk for a minute, and then we all get to talk, and then we'll have a wrap-up in the end. And then we'll bring out the wine and the silly snacks, and so we can talk again, or longer, in a different way. So that's what we're going to do. I hope that I've made things a little clearer. And let me introduce to you these 3 people who have work that we think is very interesting around this topic. The fancy people, as Philip says. Yeah. So.
Would you guys enjoy to talk more if you were drunk now? With that?
How could they say no?
They would say no. They would say yes if they were drunk.
Right. Well, they seem like a very sober bunch. We'll have to.
Maybe once we get started, I have to open the wine and find the cups.
Right. All right. Okay. So we'll see how we do on the wine. But meanwhile, I'll tell you who we have up here in our fancy people batch. Let's see. Starting with Philip Wang here. He tells me that his most serious claim to fame as a dance person is that he was the last lover of Nureyev. Although he also did a lot of dramaturg work for Alvin Ailey and thought seriously about taking over the Martha Graham School. But I really think that his more important work is all of the incredible site-specific things that he's done with huge amounts of people all over the world. He'll tell you more about that later. Eric Kupers, first lover of Nureyev, apparently. According to what I have here written, actually has been running Dandelion Dance Theater with Kimiko Guthrie for many years, and also teaches at Cal State Hayward. Would probably be okay if I called him a contemporary dance choreographer. Okay, all right. And is working on a really interesting project that I think I'll tell you more about. And then we have Monique Jenkinson.
Current spiritual lover.
You guys are doing great. Very clearly a completely hard to categorize performance artist, dance, theater, and then various other incredible elements, burlesque. Then there's the drag queen thing. Has one of her ongoing projects is a drag queen persona character called Phonique, who has had many exploits in the world of drag queendom and won the Miss Tranny Shack Award apparently. And so her work is going to delve into some of that realm in addition to elements of internetness. Okay, so here we go.
And I'm going to keep us on schedule.
So my name's Eric Kupers, and I want to talk about one particular aspect of dance in relationship to popular culture that I'm interested in. My work feels very much in opposition to a lot of popular culture in this particular aspect, which is around an aspect of popular culture that it leads to conformity, and particularly around how we look, how our bodies are, how we express ourselves, but also in sort of what is okay to do and not to do publicly and in polite society, and how we're supposed to behave. And I find that part of TV and magazines and movies and music very limiting and kind of confining. And so a lot of my work in dance has been to try to bust down as many walls as possible in those areas, and to really look at the humanity of everybody performing, but also of the people watching dance.